Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. Trust in
Hello, and welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas, and who, sir, are you?
I'm the producer, Matt Duncan. Freddie, how are you doing in this snow-packed world we live in these days?
I'm doing pretty good. Shout out Snowmacron.
Snowmacron.
You are triple boosted. I hope you're feeling okay.
I am. Yeah, as per tradition now, we record a podcast a mere few hours after I get a booster shot.
Great tradition.
Yeah. I mean, it's better to do it now than tomorrow based on, what can happen. But, knock on wood, hopefully I can go 3 for 3 with not having really any issues. So,
yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
And if you're just tuning into this podcast for the first time, or you're back, thank you. We're a Raptors/NBA pod. We're hardcore fans, and we have analysts and comedians, and anyone that's a hardcore Raptors fan is welcome on the pod. A hardcore basketball fan as well. So thank you for joining us. If you want to, help us or share the good word, or support your local podcasters, Matt's going to tell you how to do that. Matty, how can people help us out?
We've got a website. It's called dunkspodcast.com. We do have the episodes posted there. You can listen. You can listen on our players if you want to be old school like that. If you're someone that is a browser happy on your computer,
Player FM, let's go.
You can go to our website, but we also have all our links for our podcatchers there. We also have the link for our podcast network, which is called the Sonar Network. You can listen to the episodes there, as well as, I do encourage you in the show notes of the episode, if you're listening on a podcatcher or whatnot, click on the guest's name and you'll be able to see other episodes they've done for us, and also their social media stuff that you can follow, which is really cool. It's all kind of compacted together on their own webpage. So that's something that the Sonar Network does for us and for you. And, yes, we just got a huge dump. Yes, we had to take the snowblower outside and do 2 different goes at it because it was so damn high. But, we got it done, a combined effort with my wife. And it just, the whole time I was thinking, like, if I wasn't wearing this Confederacy of Dunks toque right now, everything would be falling off.
Totally.
Everything would be falling off. You got snow blown in your face. Oof, you need to be covered. You need to keep that heat under the hood. Mm-hmm. So get in contact with us. You can tweet us. You can send us confederacydunks@gmail.com if you want one of our toques. Freddie's got them ziplocked. Like, these things you could take to space. I'm telling you, they are fantastic. And the last thing I'll say is we do have a Patreon. If you can support us for as low as $4 a month, you can get some extra content. You can get early releases. You can get episodes without any ads, which is great. But if you can only chip in a couple of, a toonie a month, that's fine too. We're cool with that. So anyway, that is all I have to say. The snow is here and I'm going to blow it.
Matt loves blowing snow, and he wouldn't do it without an anti-itch toque. You heard it from him first. Our toques are okay to take to space. So if you know a billionaire that's going for a space ride, you bring one of our toques. And you tell them that you're going to wear that and not a helmet.
Yeah.
Maddie, you're the best. You're a pro. Thank you so much. I hope you're, having the best time of your life out there in the snow.
Oh yes.
Just blowing snow. This is a really, really fun pod. We have Samson Folk from Raptors Republic. We have Cathryn Naiker, also now from Raptors Republic. They are both amazing in their own right, but also, it's pretty cool to have some double RR.
Mm-hmm.
But we talk Raptors rotation. We talk the value of Chris Boucher as a Raptor versus a trade asset.
Mhm.
We mess around with some exciting plays, in the spirit of what just happened with Russel Westbrook and his big dunk. We do our own kind of broadcaster impressions. It's really fun. And we also talk about our favorite league pass team, which, you might be familiar with that concept with me and Maddie doing our league pass thing. I still got to do my homework and make sure I watch a Pelicans game.
That's right.
Maddie,
Yeah.
you with a G State
Warriors.
game.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure to record that for our Patreon crew.
Yeah.
But I think we're basically good to go to get rolling on this pod. And let me just say, as I usually do, Black Lives Matter, defund the police, stop Asian hate, and email your city councilors, email your MPPs, your constituent, and be noisy about it, and make sure your opinions and your political takes are heard.
Yeah. You might be a tiny shovel, but you make a lot of noise with it.
Yeah, exactly. You can do a lot with a little shovel. We've seen that recently. You can make some big noise. You can call CP24 while driving. Or you can implement changes on a broader scale. It's up to you. But let's get going on this pod. It's a really, really fun one. And again, everyone who's been listening and supporting, thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate it. And cool. Yeah, let's get going on this Raptors pod. Maddie, if you feel like we're good to go, please just give me those words I crave so much. Okay. Okay, let's get this pod rolling. It's episode 230. I'm really excited. We got two wonderful guests returning because she's always going to return. She's been on the pod so many times. She's an incredible writer, an amazing stand-up, lover of Nick Nurse, perhaps the OG lover of Nick Nurse. She's just incredible. A podcasting partner of mine as well. We do the WNBA, the Pickup podcast together. And she's just awesome. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Cathryn Naiker. Wow.
Hello. That was fun. We really zoned into that one together.
We felt it. Yeah.
We were really in sync there. I do think I am the OG lover of Nick Nurse. I'm really claiming that. I don't know if I have a tweet to prove it. Maybe appearances on this podcast prove it.
Yeah, there will be
but it goes back. It goes way back.
There's a solid 30 to 50 people who are like, I listened to that first episode when Cathryn was way too into Nick 4 years ago. But you deserve to claim that. You supported him before, well before Fisherman's Friends. You know what I mean?
Well before. McDonald's.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I forgot about that weird McDonald's commercial where everyone looks tired.
Well, I mean, it's like perfect casting because he does look like a McDonald's manager. You know what I mean? Like he wore that look well.
I've worked at McDonald's, and if Nick Nurse ever said "time to lean, time to clean," it would fit. It would totally fit.
I didn't know you worked at McDonald's.
It was my first official job. Yeah.
Wow.
You had the gold card?
I never got a gold card.
Oh, damn.
But I did eat 25 nuggets in a half hour. So catch me later. You know what I mean? Okay. I've embarrassed myself already. Maybe at some point I'll get my McDonald's name thing and I'll bust it out for the pod. I was so funny that I called myself Fred Dog. So anyways, yeah. Let's bring on guest number 2. He's an incredible basketball writer, personality. I think he's actually really good at ball himself. Has been in Mexico for a while. I think he's in Saskatchewan now. We were just talking about an incredible Scotty Barnes piece that he wrote. It's easily the most, I was going to say probably, it's easily the most thorough and comprehensive and just, exceptional article and writing I've read so far about Scotty. I always listen to his Raptors reaction pods. He's just a great basketball personality. He's really good at translating X and O's into, basketball stuff that people understand and enjoy and are entertained by. And give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Samson folk. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's a hell yeah for sure.
Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Good. Thanks for joining, Samson. Appreciate it.
That was a hell of an intro. You said I was good at ball. That's all I ever need to hear, quite frankly. Because you know what? Not enough writers have that met. You know what I mean? Because they're talking about players all the time, and it's like, Are you good at ball? How much basketball have you played? Why are you questioning this set action here? That kind of thing. So I really appreciate you giving me the credit for that. Even we don't know if it's deserved or not. It's hypotheticals now.
I feel like I got a decent read. Like I feel like you've broken some ankles. I don't know if you've ever done like elevator doors on somebody, but I feel like you can shake and bake.
Shake and bake, baby. Yeah.
You can at least high kick.
By the way, Cathryn, you wrote for Mr. D.
I did.
I loved that show.
Oh, that's awesome.
That show. Yeah. So I didn't even know that until I think I found out like a couple weeks ago. And I was immediately like, that kicks so much ass. I love that. So yeah, thanks for contributing to something that I really enjoyed.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Also, Freddie has a Mr. D connection. He was working with him on Family Feud.
I did.
Canada, baby.
I was the audience warm up for Jerry D for Family Feud. It was really fun. Jerry's awesome. Hardcore sports fan, by the way.
Were you there for the Canadian Heritage moment where that girl was talking about chicken or whatever?
That was season 1, and I only came on season 3.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But I did get to meet Perdita Felician and Kem Birch's mom.
Wow,
there you go. Those are some of my highlights. But let's start talking Raptors ball. And also, just quick shout out to Cathryn. I probably don't pump her up enough, but she's still writing for cool stuff. So Son of a Critch is out. She's writing for that. So make sure you watch that, everybody. But
support Canadian television I can keep having a life. Thanks.
We need to eat, all right, Maddie, why don't you give me your most delicious, weird, non-Aaron Baines Raptors sting.
Raptors
Oh, I messed up the timing. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. Cathryn, let's go to you first. Obviously, yes, you love Nick Nurse, but you're down to criticize him just as much as you're down to compliment him. And I don't even know if I want to lob this as a critique style question, but I've talked a lot about on this pod just kind of the nuance of trust in players. And I remember having a lot of feelings during the Boston series, and I felt like it took Nurse a bit too long to trust Norm. I wanted him to trust Boucher in that series. And, with Tampa, all the way, this journey to where we're at now, where I think it's pretty clear the Raptors have a very strong, 1 through 5 starters or guys who play the majority of the minutes. And you got some other guys like Kem and Precious and Boucher who are contributors. Obviously, Gary and Birch were out for the Miami game. It was a really tight game. Larry was also out, perhaps at a Philadelphia Eagles game. We don't know for sure.
Oh, conspiracy.
Yeah, there are some photos, but
there's photos? You're like breaking news for me right now.
Hey, listen, I don't want to mess up my own question too much, but someone did take a picture of him and I think his son leaving the Eagles game the day before the personal reasons. But
wait, Samson's shaking his head yes too.
I think he must have seen it.
He got. Yeah, he got.
Right?
I mean, Alvin Williams was making it sound like something happened to his family.
I thought
on the broadcast.
It seems serious.
He was like, some things are bigger than basketball. Football, I guess, is
Eagles.
bigger than basketball.
Oh my God, that works. Some things are bigger than basketball, namely
Football.
American football and international soccer. Cheers.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Yeah. Okay. So
that is brutal.
Okay.
I'm sorry to completely derail your question, but it's like, oh my God. Wow. I'm in shock. Because I always thought of Kyle as the type of competitor that would really want to show up to a Toronto game.
I think
you know what I mean?
I think he is, but he has his own exceptions. Even as a Raptor, if Villanova was going deep or if the Eagles were going deep, he was going to be there. And he's golfed on an injured elbow. So there's been some Kyle stuff in the past.
Golfed on an injured elbow.
But listen, this isn't a Kyle slander pod. Kyle is forever perfect, and it's okay.
I mean, at least he didn't do that while he was on the Raptors. Then I would feel differently.
Yes.
Now it's just kind of funny, but now it's like even more annoying that we lost the game.
Hey, fair
knowing
enough.
that he just dipped like that,
There's layers, man. There's layers to breakups, and okay, well let's just get back. Okay, Cathryn, I'll let you just
if there's time, can we circle back? Because I really need to process this.
Sure. We'll circle back. We'll do some internet sleuthing, maybe.
If there's time.
No, but just okay. So the Miami Toronto game was a snapshot, obviously. And I'm not sure why Utah or Svi didn't figure into the rotation. Champagne was playing, he hurt his finger. But yeah, just in general, like, do you think Nick is, sometimes too tight on his rotations?
Okay, so I hate to do this, but I feel like I'm going to answer this question with more questions, because there are certain players' availability that I'm confused by.
Right.
Like, I don't know where Dragic is, like, in the world. Like, I just don't even know where he is. Scotty Barnes has been like, like in and out, and they're doing this, like, I don't know, like Kawhi resting thing with him that I don't really understand. So I've been finding that confusing. And I think there's something to be said for, like, look, this is a rebuilding year and we have to develop the guys that we have. And, like, Utah should be getting some minutes. And, I don't know about Malachi because, I don't know, he just hasn't been performing to a certain level. But I get why people are frustrated. And then on the flip side, I look at it and I'm like, I understand holding the bar really high and keeping it there. You know what I mean? And being like, why should I give you minutes in an NBA game if you're not hitting this bar? Or if your plus minus is like really that bad, or whatever it happens to be. So I understand him having high standards and I appreciate it. But, only having a 7-man rotation in a game in January when you could have more doesn't feel like it's the most productive long term. So, yeah, I have questions as to people's availability, and I kind of see it from both sides, but I am concerned that we are running mainly Fred, but also Pascal into the ground a little bit here in mid-January.
Okay, so you had a couple points, and I think I'll just swing it over to Samson, but I will say you're touching on a bunch of reasons, like, why I'm curious about your guys' takes on this, because I feel like in one hand you nailed it with saying Nurse is bringing the bar so high, and he's like, you got to meet this bar if you want to play. It seems like Precious is starting to meet that bar. It seems like Boucher has met that bar. Champagne has met the bar. Utah at different times. So I think I get that, right? I get this idea of being like, this is where you need to be if you want to play defense on this squad, if you want to have minutes. Otherwise, you can, prove it in practice. But then also I start to think about Tibbs, and I start to think about D'Antoni, and I think about what happens when you don't trust more than 7 guys. Is it does have an effect where the guys you do trust eventually, a long enough string of like high 30s or 40-minute games is going to break down anyone's body. So that's my worry, I think, like, and from a long-term perspective, and then also development, like, is it good to bench guys, in terms of development? And I'm not saying it isn't, because it might be. I think everyone's different, but yeah. Well, where are you at on the rotation, Samson?
Well, on the one hand, it does make sense because the Raptors are the worst scoring bench in the NBA, the worst shooting bench in the NBA,
right,
statistically. And I think that the defense isn't where they're failing. I think, like, you look at Yuta Watanabe, he's a phenomenal defender. Like, he's really, really strong on that end. Champagny, is up and down because he's a rookie, but he's also good. Precious has been a strong defender all year. It's just the offense. And so the thing is, they need offense. And they've been going to the bench for some time, even in a short rotation for the regular season, which is like 8 guys. And even that wasn't enough. And eventually we're getting to the point now where it's 6. Champagny played 9 minutes last night, and everybody else, it was a 6-man rotation. He dislocated his finger. Pretty wild. And it's something to consider that, there's on the one hand, you say, is this Nick Nurse saying, Masai and Bobby build the team, I get control of the rotations? I'm saying, get us a guy. Right. These guys are good enough. Bring in the help. And you can see that, like, even Pascal last night in his commentary afterwards said, we're young, we can handle this type of load. Nick Nurse also commenting and saying, I felt good about the minutes. I feel good about these guys. And so maybe that's them. You never know the politics of it, really. But it is strange to see a 6-man rotation in regular season games, especially going, around 6 or 7 game in and game out. So you wonder if there is some sort of pushback from the rotation, the guys there, the coaching staff, to say, maybe you look at bringing somebody in that helps this team win, because these guys want to win and they feel like they can. That could be a possibility. And then, of course, there's just maybe Nick Nurse is just like really nasty. You know what I mean? He's like, you're going to run. Yeah. You're playing 40, and if you can't hit a 3 and play defense, then you're playing 0. And so it's really interesting. I don't think it's sustainable. I think that, the sports science, I haven't looked at the peer-reviewed essays. Okay, I don't. I have to tell on myself, first of all.
How dare you?
I do. Yeah, I know. I'm peddling. I guess it wouldn't be disinformation, because I'm not doing it purposefully. I'm passing on, something I thought I heard. So misinformation, neither is good, but let's say misinformation. I'm saying that the sports science is almost assured on this thing, that this is not sustainable, and that fatigue, contributes to injuries and stuff like that. And also, you just see them every night. Like, Pascal will be like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He's already played 36 minutes and he has 5 fouls. And he's like, I don't know how to do this, how to play this game this way. I'm trying to figure it out. And then he'll get an offensive foul, and that'll be it for the night, something like that. But yeah, I do wonder if this is some sort of, stiff arm by the coaching staff and players to say, bring somebody in, please, we need help. That's my take on it, but it's not sustainable. It certainly won't work forever, although it is the best thing that they can do to win games right now.
The real question is, why didn't they just rest everyone against Detroit? We know we're going to lose anyway. I mean, it's like, what is even the point?
Well, yeah, and this kind of plays into, like, Nurse's tenure a little bit, because we've also seen unwinnable games where the Raptors kind of like press in the last like minute or so to like squeeze the 15-point margin to like 4 or 3, and it leaves you wondering a little bit, like what's the, and Samson hit on it, like, what's the politics in the dressing room? What points are they trying to make to the players, to the organization, to the fans, to their opponents, right? And I think this is where, we're left as analysts and podcasters and entertainers, just to kind of mess around with what could be. I do think there's player pride. I remember, wasn't a particular Kyle quote, but he said things along the lines over the years that, like, and sorry, Nurse, in referring to Kyle and Fred, just that, like, there's no one that can play the way they play on the team. So a tired version of them is still better than, say, Malachi. And I think there's definitely truth to that. But yeah, I kind of come at it from the sports science angle. Again, I'm not a sports scientist, but it's not a sustainable thing. And that's what leaves me a little bit worried is too strong, but just, I don't know, just kind of curious about long-term plan. And, yeah, let's stick with you, Samson, because I want to transition this into Boucher. I think Siakam is a guy that you can kind of track like fairly easily. Like, people were down on him and he got injured and he got COVID and he was in Tampa and he had to play with Baines and then he hurt his shoulder and he had the first surgery of his life. And now he's playing great again. And I think for the people who believed in Siakam, it's not a surprise in any regard. I mean, I'll put my hand up as someone who never really stopped believing in him. And I kind of thought he would come back to this form. And it's nice to see. Boucher, on the other hand, is someone I've really wavered. Sometimes I've been high on him. I've never quite thought of Boucher as like a bona fide starter or anything like that. But I think particularly after the Tampa year, I thought he had kind of, emerged into like a bona fide rotation guy that could play on any team and get minutes and deserve those minutes. Now I'm wondering, as the trade deadline kind of approaches, he's been the guy in my mind who, if you want to use some salary, and it would be weird if we were to trade a guy like Birch. Like, I don't even know if we can, because we just signed him. But yeah, Boucher to me seems like the guy you move at the deadline if you do want to move someone. But then, he's kind of coming on and he's starting to fill in some of the gaps. Like we saw early in the year, he was taking a bevy of bad shots. He also had a finger injury, by the way, coming into the year. But yeah, like he's hustling and he's running the floor and he's kind of helping this Raptors, like everyone above 6'8" thing. Like, he's helping it exist. And yeah, kind of a convoluted question, but do you think Boucher has more value to this team as a rotation player right now and going forward, or kind of as a potential trade asset to get somebody else back?
I think he's more valuable as a rotation player right now. This was an interesting thing to talk about last year, when around the trade deadline, basically, like, it looked like Kyle Lowry was shedding tears in the tunnel in what was considered his last game. Everybody knew the Raptors. They traded Norm. Matt Thomas was gone, as was, a couple other players on the team, that kind of stuff. So you knew they were trying to get assets and maybe younger assets, that type of thing. And with Chris Boucher, I thought that, considering the season he was having, he was a prime candidate to quote unquote sell high. And this year, I think, given the context of the Raptors roster, he's much more valuable on the team than he would be in the trade market. And because obviously he brings significantly more offensive punch than anybody else on the bench. I mean, the Raptors scored 23 bench points last night. Who had all of them? Chris Boucher. And
did he have 100% of our bench points?
Yes, he did. That's correct.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
6-player rotation.
Yeah. And like Champagny played 9 minutes and then he dislocated his finger, but Champagny's not scoring a lot anyway. He's grabbing orbs. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, yeah, Chris Boucher, and defensively, he fits into, I wrote about this. I coined it. Now, not everybody has to, answer to this name, but the Funk Fest quartet is Scotty, Pascal, Chris, and Precious. And they win their minutes, that 4-man lineup, by a lot. Whether Champagny's on it, whether OG's on it, whether Gary's on it, whatever. They win their minutes because they're weird. They rebound half of their own misses, and they block shots, and they get out and run and that kind of stuff. And Chris Boucher is, almost a linchpin of the funk on the roster. And I think that he's very important to what they do there. His offensive rebounding numbers seem repeatable, seem like that's something he can continue to replicate. And he had such a tough start to the year that I think his value league-wide is lower than it was last year. And you look at the fact that every time Siakam plays, he's near fouling out. Every time Precious plays, he's near fouling out. Every time Chris Boucher plays, he's near fouling out. If you can't turn Chris Boucher into a better big man, which maybe you could, maybe that's the trade. But if you can't do that, then you're leaving your front court so thin that I don't even think it's a viable option. And so I think he's very valuable to keep. And ever since I was in working these games in December when I met Cathryn, actually, and I was sitting across from Chris Boucher along with a bunch of other media members, and he had said that he started meditating prior to the game to try and clear his head, to try and make sure that he was playing a little bit different, to make sure that the game was simpler for him. And I wrote a piece about this, that basically everything that he was good at last year was taken away from him. He was one of the highest volume, highest efficiency pick and roll men. He was hitting threes at 38%. And then this year, he was, for a large part of this year, one of the lowest efficiency pick and roll men because he didn't get to play with Kyle anymore. And He was shooting like the same percentage from three as Draymond Green instead of Karl Anthony Towns. It's just his ability to help things on the court radically changed, and their ability to help him changed too. And so he just became like Rodman-esque in hustling for defense and for rebounds on both sides of the court. And he's found a new way to impact the game in a positive way. And so I think he's made a great adjustment. And I think that it's really, really valuable on this roster. I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, but yeah, that's how I feel.
So many good points. Just a couple things off my head. One, I love Chris. He's so endearing. And I didn't hear until now the meditation thing. That makes a lot of sense. And key points with playing with Kyle, what that can do for you, and then having Kyle removed, and Fred is incredible. What I think we don't see with Fred yet is that type of synergy with bigs that Kyle had. And the Rodman stuff's amazing. Like, I feel like I was going to say Siakam, but no, Boucher really has he's really embraced the challenge that is this year. And I don't know what more you could want from a player. And the other point I just want to touch on is the fouling. And I think that goes back to the first thing in tight rotation and getting into foul trouble when you don't have a lot of guys. And that makes Chris all the more valuable. So, lots of good points in my head. I've been, I'm not a big trade machine guy, but I'm sort of thinking if you can replace him with a big, do you give the Clippers a call and say hey, how's your year looking? Maybe you want to do Boucher for Ibaka, or Boucher for Ibaka, or whatever, Boucher and Flynn for Morris and Ibaka. I don't even know if that works or adds up, or if we win that trade, but that's sort of where my head's at. I think he would have to be replaced by a better big. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're in trouble all half the time with bigs. So I think we do need to keep that length coming. Cathryn, where are you at on Chris and his value as a rotation guy, or potentially as an asset at the deadline?
Trade Boucher now. No, I'm kidding. I don't feel that way.
Coming in hot.
No, I mean, look, I think the fan base is looking at the Gary Trent Jr. Norm Powell trade and hoping that something similar exists. And I think it's harder to find that type of a trade with bigs. It's harder to find a younger big who's going to be comparable to Boucher, but has a higher ceiling of growth that a team would actually be willing to trade. Teams hold on to guys like that. So, I'm not sitting here completely against it, but I just don't know who that would be for. Also, like Samson said, Boucher struggled earlier in the year. He's really coming on now. I think it might be worth riding out the rest of the season with him to see his development a bit more this season. I think that might be more worthwhile for us. We all know Masai isn't against trading a fan favorite, which he absolutely is. I don't want to see him go. I don't even know. I'm not even confident we're making moves at the deadline, to be honest. Not that we don't need them, but I keep going back to like what Masai said at the beginning of the year. Like this is a rebuilding year. Those are his words. And he, for all we know, is treating it that way. And because we're such a healthy organization, we're going to overachieve in the regular season. Like we just are. That's who we are. And that's what we do. So, I would rather hold on to him to see his growth for the rest of the year. But I mean, if there's someone out there, then that's great. But I don't see a team trading a younger, better big. And I don't see why we would go older at this point in our growth either. Like as much as we all love Ibaka, like I just don't. Also, he's been having a hard time coming back from injuries himself. Yeah, I just don't see us skewing older at this point in our development either.
Yeah, lots of good points as well. And I think like it's key that there's a key kind of like thing I find you have to accept with Masai. One is that he's not afraid to make the risk. Two is that he doesn't have like any Brian Colangelo in him. Like he's not about taking risks or shuffling things up just cause. I think he and Bobby and the whole crew is really kind of hell bent on analyzing what they have, and when they have a true north or an answer that makes sense for the direction of the franchise, they'll take it. And I think going back to Kyle at the deadline, like which Samson brought up, I think Masai, had his eye on Precious, and if he wasn't going to get Precious back, the deal wasn't going to happen. I mean, one of the rumored guys, Maxey, is looking pretty good as well. But I think Masai didn't really want that guy, and I think he likes Boucher, and we've brought Boucher, up from the G League, and he's done a lot of the things that the Raptors like. And yeah, it's just, it's kind of an interesting thing to me, because where do you go as a franchise if you're not willing to make moves? And the answer is sort of like, well, you have to wait. And I think Masai and Bobby are pretty comfortable being patient. And that's the agreement with Masai, is that he's willing to do something wild and make a big splash, but also he's willing to be patient and evaluate. And sometimes that doesn't sit well with fans. I always put myself in the, believe in Masai camp. Like we've gotten too many good things. I enjoy the development too much. So I don't have a lot of, I guess skepticism or doubt in me for, his moves. I mean, any move he makes is criticized. I remember the Norm Gary move, just how criticized that was. And I think, it's looking pretty good. I love Norm, by the way, no disrespect, but yeah, Gary's incredible. Let's, unless you guys have any other, Raptors thoughts you want to throw out there, let's jump to some NBA stuff. Sound good? Okay. I don't know what I guess. Am I expecting someone to be like, no, sir? Okay. Maddie, I know you're back there. Why don't you give me your most delicious, loud, Adam Silver boat sounding sting?
This is Adam Silver.
All right, let's stick with you, Cathryn. Yeah, I just and I want to bring you to Matt, and obviously we're not going to play video alongside this, but I'm not sure if all three of you saw the Russel Westbrook on Rudy Gobert dunk from last night. It was absolutely just nasty and ferocious and fun and just amazing. So I'm hoping that I can task you three with giving me a highlight and sort of like a play-by-play, like how you would call the play if you were in the broadcast chair. Obviously, it's usually two people going, bantering. So like just, whatever way you interpret that is okay with me. Just want to get a little bit silly. Yeah, let's go to you, Cathryn, first. Tell us the highlight.
Oh, man. I was not prepared to answer this question. I thought this question was only for Matt. I am not prepared to tell you how I would call.
You want me to go first?
Okay, I'll let you brainstorm for a second, Cathryn. Maybe I'll go to Matt first. Matt seems ready, Matt's like we had a big snowstorm here in Ontario. Anyone who listens to this pod, they know Matty loves his snowblower. So this dude's been out there blowing snow. So he's ready to go. Matty, what's up? What's a highlight from I guess this year? It doesn't have to be. Tell us a highlight. Tell us how you'd call it.
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I feel like this year there have been a lot of like crazy buzzer beating shots that have won games this year. I've just noticed a lot more than I usually do. But like, even with the ones like DeRozan has done some and Doncic has done some, but like none of them beat the king of all the buzzer beaters. It's just nothing beats that. Okay, like. And especially what was beautiful about that shot in the championship against Philly was that it was an ugly drop. So I'm not going with a buzzer beater one, but you know what? I'm going to take it from the game last night against Miami. Scotty had a dunk. Everybody was shook when he came charging and knocked a drink flying, and this woman's drink just exploded, and I can't remember if it was the American feed or the Canadian one, but they were going nuts and slowing it down and showing it. And I would be, what I would say if I was broadcasting, I would say, splish splash, Scotty's taking a bath. And then
okay, here we go. A lot of build up to that, but that was a nice one. Splish splash, Scotty's taking a bath. Cheers, Matty.
Yeah.
You came through.
And I want this kind of dunk to become Scotty's thing. I want, when we're playing at home, to have whatever hoop we're shooting on is going to be like the splash zone. I want to be giving out ponchos to both sides, and you take it off depending on which way the Raptors are going. And Nav, I see you. He's going to lead the charge on this. And like, you got to have big drinks. I want it to be a wet water park splash zone mess every time Scotty comes in for one of those like raging bull dunks. I want to see, and we got TSN 5G on these games. We're going to see that in 60 frame, 120 frame. It's going to be fantastic. So yeah, that's where I am at with this.
Thanks for breaking down the frames, Matt. That was big. This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You even threw in that, like, I guess in this scenario, you want fans like holding up big, like overflowing drinks to hopefully get knocked over. That's cool. That's cool too. And you're sitting close. You got a lot of money, right? So, drop that $20 beer on the ground. Cathryn, I won't throw to you just yet. I'm gonna go to Samson, see if I can buy you a bit more time. Samson, do you have a call? And can it rival Matty's?
Hell yeah. Okay, so mine is kind of like an ensemble. There's this whole scene. Okay, so John Morant has the turnover. Okay. Avery Bradley's dribbling up court, and up goes the layup, and up goes Jaw, and with two hands, he snatches it out of the air, the two-handed block. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with, I can't remember the play-by-play guy's name, the announcer for Charlotte, but the one who went viral because of Bismack Biyombo shot a three and he went, "Oh my God," which is a really funny thing to do to your own player. Yeah. But I'm thinking kind of like, is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's John Morant. And then you start playing the Superman theme because there's this one angle they got of it where they zoom in on Morant and Bradley shooting it. And Morant goes down like he's gathering to jump. And then all of a sudden the shot goes up and Morant comes into frame from behind Desmond Bane and starts rising like Superman snatching a baby out of the air, like saving a life. Only he's trying to stop a basketball from entering. And during that slow motion, you can do the whole Superman thing. That for me is like, I thought I saw God that day. I didn't know how to explain that highlight because, and especially the cinematics of it, right? You're zoomed in, and as he rises, you're zooming out, and it gives this, this aura of like, will he ever stop rising? Is he some sort of balloon that's been released to fly wildly in the air, and only by chance, by circumstance, has he ended up in front of this ball, much to Avery Bradley's chagrin, right? And so that's kind of my thing I'm going for. That block, it blew my mind when I saw it, and my mind, quite frankly, is still blown.
As it should be. Samson, Matt, we're 2 for 2 here. Absolutely. Superman Ja Morant continuing to fly. That's just good stuff. Like, yeah, if he like stopped in midair, and that I'm so bad with music, but that like do, you know, that like that meme where the person just twirls into the galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Ja for sure could have done that in that moment. Yeah, it's one of the most jaw-dropping plays I've ever seen. Like, you know, I'm in a basketball thread and someone asked, like, has anyone ever seen someone jump higher? And the only thing I could think of that even was really comparable was deep cut for Raptors fans. There was once a Jamario Moon rebound where he got the rebound and it just looks fake. Like, it looks like he jumped off a trampoline, and when you watch it, it's odd. And actually, if you look it up on YouTube, I think the only way you can get it is like there's a Croatian broadcast, so a little bit of a extra juice there. This is fantastic. Cathryn,
you're keeping
what's up?
that video alive, Freddie.
I am. I'm like, that video to me is like a volleyball, you know, and I'm just trying to keep that video just like, you know, it's on the surface of like not existing in the YouTube wastelands, and it, you know, it deserves to be recognized. Shout out Jamario Moon. What's up, Cathryn? What's your play, and what's your call?
Okay, well, I think that the Ja Morant block is the play of the year of the season.
Yes.
Like it's really great. But I'll do this Russell Westbrook dunk. Why not?
Nice.
We're here, and my call would be, he actually made it in. Russ, he dunked it in.
Okay, that's amazing. That sounds like a little kid.
Yeah.
Passive aggressive call of your life.
Hey, a passive aggressive call is always welcome. Samson, did you have something?
Oh no, I'm good. That was funny.
Oh, okay.
That was really funny.
I thought you were just wanting to join in there. 100%. I was going to go, like, I would love to see this isn't from this season, but I would love to see the OG 3-pointer like dramatized in a way that, like, you know, a Royal Rumble can be dramatized. Like, you got the wrestling crew, you know, Jerry the King Lawler, JR, and just like with them pulling out Taco Fall, like I'm into some like, my God, he's too big. And then it's like, oh, what are we gonna do? And then, you know, you it gets to OG, and it's like, my God, he's got the brass knucks. Or, I mean, you know, he doesn't have brass knuckles, but whatever. There's a wrestling vibe to that. Another one, a little bit of a sad moment, perhaps, for Raptors fans, but I would just like classic Simpsons episode when they're throwing the pretzels, like, it's a dark day for baseball. I want that same line for when Booker forced the Raptor to move and they zoom up on the Raptor. I just want to hear Devlin say, it's a dark day for basketball. Like, you know, just meet the moment at the summit, like a good block, and just call that a sad moment.
What's your guys' policy on cursing on this podcast?
It's
let
more
him
than
fly.
welcome. Yeah. Let him
Okay,
fly.
so maybe the best call of all time comes from a dude like in Toronto, not from an actual broadcast, but it's that very famous video of when Rudy Gay hit the game winner against the Raptors.
Yes.
And it's the guy just, not this guy, not this fucking guy. You know, you're hearing a fan lose his mind while he's, by the way, perfectly videoing Rudy Gay as he's about to beat his team and just screaming, not this fucking guy. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a huge moment. Shout out to the I think it went viral recently, the Philly fan that traveled to see the Kawhi shot in Toronto. That was a nice little filmed moment.
Oh, that was incredible. I loved watching that video.
But check out
as
this
they
Rudy
say,
Gay
lives
thing
rent free in my mind.
Oh,
that was great.
Okay, let's finish this off with the last question. Let's go to you, Samson. And where was my question here? Here we go. Yeah, just kind of a classic, like other favorite team at the moment style question. Who's your league pass team? Who are you watching when you're not watching the Raptors?
I think the Wolves are a really, really fun team. They have a bunch of weirdos on their team as well, like Jared Vanderbilt and Jaden McDaniels. Neither of them can shoot or do hardly anything on offense, but they both have go-go gadget arms that help their team play really, really good defense. D'Angelo Russell, after toiling away as, a really bad defender for so many years, is a positive on that end, finally. That's super strange. And so the fact that he's shooting like 39% from the field doesn't bother anybody because like he's playing defense now. It's okay. He can do whatever he wants on offense. Nobody cares. And D'Lo, as a fellow lefty, he's in the leftorium where I reside. So I have to support. And so they have a really fun and dynamic defensive scheme that I just really enjoy watching. They get a ton of blocks. They get a ton of steals. And it is because they have really long athletes and they have Karl-Anthony Towns at the middle of it. And then offensively, you're looking at, I think Dirk even had said that Karl-Anthony Towns is a better shooter than he is. Like Karl-Anthony Towns, by the end of his career, will no doubt have the overwhelming statistical resume as the best shooting big man of all time. He can also dunk like hell. You have D'Angelo Russell, who's one of the slickest passers in the NBA. And then you have the, Ant-Man could detonate at any point in time. And Ant-Man is also the coolest player in the NBA. If you've seen a single solitary interview of this dude, he is the coolest dude in the NBA without a there's no competition. So that collection of all those things makes it pretty interesting. And Malik Beasley is a dramatic fellow himself. With Larsa Pippen, he got into some off-court stuff. So if you're looking for the, reality show aspect of the NBA, Malik Beasley will give you that end of it too. So they're altogether a very interesting and fun team.
Hell yeah. T-Wolves. I wasn't expecting a T-Wolves shout out, but that's a perfect answer for this question. Like, often a team is just kind of quietly being exciting and fun before they become, a Grizzlies or a Suns. So it's like a deep joy as a basketball fan, I think, discovering one of those teams like before they really start to kind of pop. And I'm enjoying the T-Wolves this year. I haven't watched too much of them, to be honest, but I've always rooted for Towns, and I'm excited for them. And shout out Chris Finch. Had a cup of coffee with the Raptors. Who's your oh wait, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna reserve that for my answer. Okay, sorry. Just a little inside my head stuff going on. Don't worry about it, everybody. Cathryn, who's your team?
For me, it's the Memphis Grizzlies. They are so exciting. I'm a believer. I've fully bought in. I don't predict things very well, but I did predict that Ja Morant would have a breakout year this year, and I was very happy to be right about that. They just feel like I can't miss a game. Like they're just, I don't know what to say. They're just really awesome. They're really entertaining. They're awesome. Really young, but I believe their ceiling's really high. They don't have a lot of playoff experience. They have some playoff experience. I've decided I've bought in. I'm a believer. They've got Mississauga's own Dylan Brooks. He's the most annoying human being in the world, and I'm on board. I never said I had good taste in men. Doesn't matter. I'm on board. I just love that team.
Hey, I am pro annoying the other team at all times. Like even when someone's kind of like a dick to Raptors, I sort of have a little bit of respect for them. Like I don't know how I feel about Martin
really
pushing Scotty in the back sort of thing, but I do like over the top competitive behavior. As long as it's not like toxic.
But didn't you find what's his name? Oh my God, on Boston, just like the most annoying person.
Smart?
Yeah, Marcus Smart. Wasn't he just like literally the worst though?
Smart is generational. He feels like a transplant of the Kyle Lowry book of basketball. Kyle Lowry tried to crawl through George Hill's legs. You know what I mean? Like, once you have a guy you cheer for,
but there's a big difference. Kyle Kyle gets charges during an all-star game. Okay, like he's on a different level.
Kyle's ridiculous, but Kyle made me appreciate, the smarts and the, why am I blanking out? Guy you were just talking about, the Grizzlies, Canadian Brooks, the Brookses of the world, and just to jump on your Memphis point, like JJJ is incredible.
Yes.
I'm glad that the path is cleared for him. With the JV trade, perhaps, even though Adams is still there, and Bain is incredible, it's just a really, really exciting team. My team is actually the Hornets, and it's kind of because of LaMelo, but it's really because of this announcer. And
I keep hearing about this guy.
I have League Pass, so I always do like the 9-minute highlights, and the guy goes berserk. There's no other way to say it. Like anytime Terry Rozier does anything, he just goes nuts. Like a Terry fadeaway, he'll be like, "Oh my god!" Like but no, in a more complimentary way than the Bismack.
Do you think Jack Armstrong's jealous that
no,
this guy's catching on?
Jack's doing his own thing. Jack's very much just like, listen, at a pivotal point in the game, I'll talk about spaghetti. Come at me. You know what I mean?
Jack is at the point in his career where he's really just trying to get those cameo numbers up. I feel like
he's got carte blanche. He does what he wants.
Jack's a treasure.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we made it to the end of the pod, though. Thank you both. Thank you, Samson. Thank you, Cathryn. Thanks for everyone who's been listening and sharing and kind of helping the podcast out, especially recently. We really, really do appreciate it. Let me go to you first, Cathryn. What's new? What do you want to tell people about? Where can people find you?
My NBA pod, the Buckets and Tea NBA show, now available on Raptors Republic. Very cool. So check it out there. And Freddie and I do our WNBA pod, the Pickup. We are covering the off-season storylines. We did an episode this week, and it's really fun. And we bitch about Becky Hammond and a lot of WNBA stuff. Anyway, that's cool too. And social media, I'm at itsme_Cathryn, spelled Cathryn. Not a lot of comedy stuff happening right now because we're all in lockdown, but hopefully we'll get through this and we'll be back to doing live shows again.
Yeah, and everybody watch Son of a Critch.
Oh yes, you can watch Son of a Critch. I wrote on the show. I particularly wrote episode 11, so that won't be out for a while.
Okay, but, only watch episode 11. Okay, people.
Watch episode 11. No. I contributed to all of them, but episode 11 will say written by me. So anyway, that's a whole thing. And yeah, CBC Tuesdays, 8:30. Check it out.
Cool. Samson, what's up? What do you want to let people know?
Just to be kind to one another.
Sure.
always look for the best joke available. You know what I mean? Like we like the Jay-Z, have dinner with Jay-Z or have $500,000. That joke, we already hit the peak. We don't have to talk about it anymore. It's Beyonce is so rich because she has dinner with Jay-Z every night. That's the joke. It's done. Yes. We drop it. I just want people to look for the best joke available at any point in time. Try and stretch your brain to its limits. Look for the best joke. We need more best jokes. And maybe you'll find one on episode 11 of Son of a Critch. Tune in.
Wow. Oh my God. The segue. Huge. I'm really into this finding the best joke. Listen, dads of the world, I hope you're listening. You can't just say the first thing that comes to your mind and look at your kid and be like, that's a joke. Because your kid will look back and be like, Dad, no, it's not. You know what I mean?
The amount of online dating profiles from men that say they've got dad jokes is infuriating. Because I want you to have better jokes than that.
That's
you know what I mean?
Dating men of the world?
Maybe I'm the only one, but
no, not at all. I was just gonna advise the dating men of the world to say, I have the best joke.
Yeah, have the best joke. That's intriguing. Because to me, it's like, oh, I have dad jokes. It's like you're just trying to be like, I'm fun but safe. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, not that that's a bad thing to portray. It's just everyone does it,
I'm fun. I'm safe. I have a bad back. Okay. I think enough riffing on the poor dads of the world. But thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go decompress this Kyle news.
Yeah, check out. Yeah, go do some Kyle sleuthing. I'll love him no matter what. But again, thanks for everyone who listens. Really appreciate it. And Samson, Cathryn, you guys are awesome. Appreciate you doing the pod. And yeah, if you're listening, make sure you check out, read their work, and follow them online. Thanks again. And Maddie, if you feel like we're good to go, please just give me those deliciously tasty words. Okay.
Okay.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.